Welcome to the museum. Today we explore a place known as the Old Line State, Maryland. It might seem impossible to fit snowy mountain peaks and bustling cities and sandy ocean beaches into one tiny state. This map shows how it all fits together: rocky western mountains, a busy central area of cities, and flat eastern beaches. Centered is the Chesapeake Bay, a massive body of water branching rivers into every region. Because this water reaches almost everywhere, moving across Maryland feels like traveling through completely different worlds that are all connected by the bay. Long before anyone drew borders on a map, native peoples lived along these rivers. Nations like the Piscataway farmed, fished, and built communities here for thousands of years, and they still live in Maryland today. This landscape is also home to incredible heroes, like Harriet Tubman. She was born enslaved on the eastern shore, but she escaped to freedom. She then used her expert knowledge of the local woods and waterways to return many times, secretly leading others away from slavery. From the first native farmers to heroes like Harriet Tubman, the people here have used their knowledge of the land and water to build their lives and help others. Let's look at where the state makes its rules. This is Annapolis, the capital city. Inside this historic brick building, the State House, leaders meet to pass laws for schools, parks, and roads. Now look at Baltimore. This is Maryland's largest city. It is a busy port full of tall buildings, big ships, and active neighborhoods grouped tightly around the water. Right on the edge of the Baltimore water sits Fort McHenry. It was built a long time ago to defend the harbor, and it is shaped exactly like a giant five-pointed star made of grass and stone. Whether you live near a historic fort or a tall skyscraper, people across Maryland love to gather outside for a meal. The most famous local food is a big pile of steamed Maryland blue crabs, caught right out of the Chesapeake Bay. Sitting around a table covered in paper, cracking open crabs together is one of the main ways Marylanders connect with their neighbors and the water. Out in the wild, Maryland has some very colorful symbols. You can look up to spot the bright orange and black feathers of the Baltimore oriole, or look down to see the yellow petals of the black-eyed Susan flower. The people who work outdoors here have very different views. On land, farmers grow millions of bushels of corn, while out on the water, fishers pull up fresh oysters and fish from the bay. Not all the work happens in the fields or on the water. Indoors, scientists at the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center wear special white suits to build satellites for space exploration. If you travel all the way to the ocean, you will find something wonderfully strange. On the sandy beaches of Chesapeake Island, bands of wild horses roam freely right next to the crashing waves. A state that holds both high-tech space labs and wild beach horses shows just how diverse Maryland's landscapes really are. Now let's try out a few Maryland traditions. Imagine building your very own sailing ship. In Maryland, the traditional boat is called a skipjack, designed with one huge sail to glide over the shallow waters of the bay. Next, imagine baking the official state dessert, the Smith Island cake. If you cut a slice, you can count 8 to 10 thin layers of cake stacked up high with chocolate frosting between every single one. For sports, Maryland has a very old-fashioned official state sport. It is jousting, where riders on galloping horses use long poles to try and catch tiny hanging rings. But if you want to play the state's most popular team game, you will need a stick with a net on the end. That game is lacrosse, and kids play it on fields all across the state. Try it right now. Stand up, pretend you are holding a lacrosse stick, and jump up to catch a ball right out of the air. Great catch! From pulling blue crabs out of the wire to tossing a lacrosse ball across a grassy field, you are now ready to explore all the connected worlds of Maryland.